I'm gonna do. Okay, here we are. We are actually now live now. I'm gonna have the live chat opened up for whoever wants to do that. All right.
Yeah, I'm sitting there watching it on my end.
Okay, I was just reading a new comment. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know what's going on, what's happening. I mean, but exactly 2 weeks ago, yeah, give or take a day or two, but 2 weeks ago, my YouTube channel has been down. Though it was like around 990 subscribers. And from out of nowhere, today I've reached, well, right now I'm looking at it, 1201. So, so that's like a big jump. And I don't know. I think it was, I don't know what it is, but I share them around. I don't overshare them. Maybe other people sharing them. I've been sharing a lot on Twitter. And I think that's where it's getting a lot of response from off of Twitter. People are getting on YouTube from seeing the videos and stuff from Twitter. So, which I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I don't know what it is,
But I'm getting feedback.
yeah, I know. I opened it up and I had the volume turned up. Thought I had to turn it down.
Oh, okay. You know what? I got. I know you guys are an hour behind me, so if it gets darker out here, it'll get darker here where I am before it gets darker where you guys are. So I got my little rechargeable lantern here. So
Yeah, I
uh,
got one out here too. I thought you guys were gonna be able to see me.
actually, maybe that's a good thing that we don't. Nah, I'm just joking.
And I'm not feeding back at all.
Right now, you're not. No, you're actually doing pretty good. That just a little bit. We had you with a little bit of feedback. We had to. I heard myself repeating myself, but so. Uh, see. Let me see. Give me a second here. All right. Well, I got the live chat for those who are just now jumping on. If you are on your phone, um, you can scroll directly down below where you're watching. If you're on your laptop, desktop, the live chat should be on the top right hand corner. So tonight, I thought what we could probably get into is maybe a little bit of a question and answer, and maybe get our input and our opinion on things. Um, Because that's one thing I love, getting other people's opinions. When I hear other people's inputs, it gives, if it's something different than me, it gives me something to consider to do some research, because I like researching other people's methods, opinions, what they say works for them, um, to see if it works for me. So, but for anybody out there, if you have questions, we will try our best to respond. So, and I do have the live chat open, so feel free, chat away. Meanwhile, first of all, Baltimore, I know, you get busy sometimes, and just wanted to touch base with you. If you want to fill us in on what's maybe going on with you, or have you had time to get out, or I know if you're like me, you got work going on and stuff.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of work going on. I've actually down the Medio Creek. I came across to into a big canyon, and what was wild about it is there were so many sounds of wild hogs going by,
Hmm.
and you could hear them squealing, and it actually sounded like if something grabs a hog by the foot, and then all of a sudden you could actually hear it moving down the creek, and then all of a sudden it just you heard a thump, and then after that would just totally silence.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you're and this canyon, it's nothing but it's covered up with trees and brush and everything like that. It's if you stand on top of the bank, going straight down, you're looking at like around 3 stories, and on this area is where that I found at was an area where there was a whole bunch of dead deer bones that were found in one area, and then all of a sudden, like around pretty close to like 3/4 of a mile, another one was actually found, and
Hmm.
then so I was squared right down the middle of it. But the activities at night, it was I was only there for an hour, but and I'm pretty sure if I would stay there overnight, I would actually hear something. But I wouldn't. But me personally, I wouldn't stay there at night by myself. I need somebody to come with me.
Yeah. Yeah. This. How far how vast is it? I mean, I know you said it's a. Uh, it sounds like it's pretty deep, though. I guess when you go into the woods, is it pretty far in, or this canyon?
Well, actually, you could actually drive to it,
Oh, okay.
and then once you're on the top of the once you're on the top, then you can see all straight down, and then you can see all these massive trees and everything.
Hmm.
It's the lowest part of B County, but you have stuff growing out there. Just we just don't know what's growing out there, and we've actually found like some rare birds and things like that, and frogs there that was also pretty rare. And then so there's no telling what's actually down there. I really haven't walked it or actually explored it, but I just don't want it to get it heated up where actually human sense would be there. What I wanted to
Right.
do was go up there, and I have some cameras that actually changed from a digital to uh, to a film. And then actually, I was going to put these film cameras up and actually on the path to see what I would catch there instead of going with digital, going with film.
Hmm. Yeah. It sounds like you might have to get some your some of the ones you've gotten together with before, some of your team members down there, and try to maybe organize something, maybe like a long weekend or something. They have at least maybe one or two overnights out there and see if anything happens.
Right,
You know.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's sometimes too is when you have certain team members or I like doing stuff by myself at times or record stuff. And if I have somebody with me, they can actually say, well, that's a Bigfoot sound or whatever. You have to be, you just have to have an open mind. Hey, because the thing is, again, there's actually wild animals out here as well, like the ring-tailed cats that actually make yells and things like that.
Mm.
And you have to when at night you basically have to know your species of animals that are out there at night and actually what sounds they make.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Because, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, and you just have to be again sure because we actually have all these different cats out here too that actually make certain sounds as well that actually yell as well at night.
Hmm.
So we just have to be 100% sure exactly what it is.
Yeah. Plus, like you mentioned the wild hogs and everything. They seem to be pretty common down there. Like as
Uh,
far as
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's bad out here. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's basically an epidemic. There are so many hogs. You could actually have maybe like around like 30 to 40 of them in the pack, or maybe even more in the pack. I mean, they're so abundant.
Wow.
I've actually saw a sow the other day that had 12 little piglets just running right behind it, and
Someone's
the
been busy.
yeah, and the protein. There's going to be a point where there's more deer. I mean, more hogs than there are deer, and
Wow.
they are everywhere down here. And there's even people. They even want to poison them to keep their numbers down. But it's just up in the air right now.
What about hunting laws? Do they have open year round hunting season for them, or is there just
Open
no?
year round. You can hunt them at night, shoot them at night. There is no. Is always season for hogs.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I know that's why a lot of people from other states and stuff they like to go on these hunts on in the other states, on these ranches, because I know Texas has got a lot of ranches that raise nice big healthy deer. Yeah, they maybe I don't know, maybe there already is, but you think maybe other people from out of state, because there's a lot of hog hunters. A lot of people love to hunt hogs, and perhaps they need to start directing them down to Texas.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Wow. Yeah. Now, I personally have never been around wild hogs. I've only been around farm raised hogs.
They're
We've
just
always
as bad.
yeah. Well, as far as their noises, their grunts, Are they pretty similar to a farm raised hog?
They're pretty similar to one, but they're a little bit more meaner,
Mm,
and their meat is a lot more leaner.
wow.
So they're not too fat. They're excellent on the grill.
Mm,
I mean, there's sometimes when the hogs are way too big. You basically can't eat them.
yeah.
I've seen like 300 pounders. I've seen 400 pounders. I've seen some monsters out here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the
Mm,
thing is also too. So that is sometimes you could actually see a huge because Bigfoot actually out here crawls on all fours,
mm,
and especially when he comes into an area, and then this where people could actually could look on the side to a road and actually see something huge and black. Oh, that's a hog, that's a cow, but never could they ever think about that it's actually Bigfoot, because
mm.
there's sometimes that it goes on all fours. There was actually a lady that actually saw one in Kennedy, Texas, and it was actually got on the middle of the road, and she actually stopped, and it was walking on all fours, and all of a sudden the animal just stands up and starts walking on top of the bridge and going straight down on two legs. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, we know for the the squatches that like to feed on hogs, we know they're not going hungry.
Oh no.
Oh man. All right. Let me check here. We got very active area and Daniel Boone National Forest. Greetings from Kentucky. Okay, this is for everyone. What states? Okay. All right. Blue Ridge Bigfoot Stories is asking. This is for everyone. What states have you researched and which have showed the most activity? I'll throw it out there real quick. I've covered a few states. However, Virginia's the one I spent most of my time in, so it would be kind of unfair for me to say, yeah, here Virginia. But I've been West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and that's about it. I've been to other states, but they don't count as bigfooting. So I don't know for what I did there, but as far as I would have to honestly say Virginia because that's where I spent most of my time doing most of my research. But I don't know. What about you guys?
Me, Texas, South Texas.
Texas?
Yep.
Okay. And I see Zach disappeared on us. He's muted, so he probably had to go use the bathroom. So let's see. Wooly Burger said there was 10,000 calorie grizzlies before Gold Rush. Last one killed in the 1920s. Hmm. I think that's what he meant. 10,000. Yeah, 10,000 calorie grizzlies. Unless he meant pounds, but he has CAL after grizzlies. After 10,000. Well, yeah, the gold rush that took place. Yeah, a lot of that took place up in Alaska, if I'm not mistaken. I know there's some big grizzlies out west, big brown bears. So they got some monsters out there. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, keep the questions coming, and yeah, keep the questions coming. Willie Booger said, "Oh, in California, gotcha, in California." Yeah, he said there was 10,000 in California. Yeah, 10,000 grizzlies in California. Okay, gotcha. Oh, yeah. All right. He misspelled it and he retyped it. I got you. And then cryptozoology guy says, "What is your thoughts on dogman sightings since fire in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee?" Well, that's one. As far as for one thing, fire. I've heard very little about the fires. I have not been really paying attention to that. So, um, hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna let Zach take a whack at that one once he gets on here.
Whack at what?
One of the questions we got here on the live chat is, we're being asked, what is your thoughts on dogman sightings since fire is in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee?
As a current?
I'm assuming that's what he's referring to.
I haven't heard about no fire in the Smoky Mountains yet.
Well, that's basically what I just told him. Because I mean, for one, I'm not. I've heard something about fires, but I just wasn't paying attention. Where I haven't been following the wildfires. Um, as far as dogman sightings, I haven't heard no dogs because I don't follow dogmen, to be honest with you. It's one other thing a lot of people don't know. If you present dogman to me, I'll talk about it, but I don't follow dogman. Reason I don't follow dogman because as much as I'm out in the field observing wildlife, not once have I ever come across anything that indicated that there was a dog besides coyotes and whatever out there. But I never seen anything that would give me the hint, hey, that's a dog man. Never had no sighting either. So until then, I can't. I kind of more or less kind of stay away from that. But let's see what else we got. Yeah, Baltimore. I don't know if you missed that question there. Like I said, it's if you don't have to respond. I don't know if you know anything about it. We really didn't either. But the question is, what's your thoughts on the dogman sightings since there's fire in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee?
I'm not too familiar with dogman or
Yeah.
anything like that. But I've heard of people talking about uh, different Bigfoot species that some of them have snouts,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
so that's considered the dogman to me. And I've actually heard people, say that they have tails and things like that, like a dog. But I've never heard anything like that. But the only thing that I've heard of certain species of Bigfoot that actually had snouts. So
Yeah, I agree. I most definitely agree because, then there's people out there that believe in I don't know, was there 7 different types? Some people say, or 4 or 5. I can't keep up, but I do believe in the different types of Bigfoot. And part of the reason I believe in the different types of Bigfoot is I know people probably don't like this, but this is my viewpoint. Especially off of my latest presentations I've been uploading on YouTube. Um, a lot of people know I compare Bigfoot with non-human primates. But the different types of Bigfoots, the ones that with a snout would resemble more like a baboon, which they have that canine snout. Baboons are very canine-like. What else? Then again, you got the different. You got orangutans. Gorillas. Because you got the different descriptions that are put out there with Sasquatch that are. You got the muscular, bulky, protruding eyebrow ridge. Long shaggy hair. Uh, you know, so et cetera, et cetera. Then you got the well, that would be more. All depends. They all vary. So I mean, I don't know. I do believe there's different types. Hmm.
everything me on my opinion is everything's dealing with their terrain,
Mm-hmm.
uh, exactly what they eat. I'm thinking like the Bigfoot down in Louisiana are totally different than that there is up north. Because down in Louisiana you have your they'll probably eat the mussels, the fish, and everything that goes into a swamp, frogs, snakes, and things like that.
Oh
And then
yeah.
come to the mountains, but they come up there and eat your deer, and so they're described a little bit differently. And then you come down here to South Texas, and then so they're described a little differently. So everything depends upon their terrain.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And I know another thing I've spoken on before. And actually, I actually spoke on recently in one of my presentations here. Um, Adaptation. Depending on the development of any one subject over a period of time, or you know, is my it was my presentation when I kept talking about evolution, adaptation versus evolution, where a lot of people get that confused. Um, Depends on where anything lives. If it's a cold environment compared to a much warmer climate, there's adaptation needs to take place, and I think that's where things appear different. In different regions and different areas. Um, like the skunk ape. Skunk ape's described as a kind of a orangutan, shaggy looking, Bigfoot. And then you got the shorter hair. Some say then you got the longer hair, darker hair, reddish hair. There's a combination of this and here, what so forth. But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with where they settle and what they get used to, the type of forest they live in, and then I believe throughout the seasons, a lot of it changes. It can change because they have to adapt to the temperatures and the climate change, just like the other wildlife do. So, um, see what do we got here? Okay, all right. Here's one from Blue Ridge Bigfoot Stories. He says, "Not sure if you are all part of the ECBRO, but do any of you go out and investigate sightings, people reports to your organization?"
Yep.
Oh yeah, I think. Yeah, I know Baltimore has. Baltimore has taken numerous reports, and I know Zach. Yeah, Zach just said he does. Um, and I have. I have not recently. Not recently, but I have quite a bit. And one thing, when I get reports, I'll document them, get as much information as I can, till I get to go there, investigate, with the individual in person. So, yeah, most definitely. So,
To me, that's the best part of Bigfoot research is coming up there and having people tell you stories that happened, not recently, that happened like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago,
yeah,
and having them come up there and tell you, hey, old man that would tell me, hey, you know what? He goes, I live in this certain area, and I don't go out there at night because I know there's a Bigfoot there,
yeah.
or and telling me their stories and letting me know this has been going on for around 5 to 7 years, and you hear these stories and you're like going, man, this is amazing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
one of the most exciting reports, and like I agree with you, it's the more recent ones, but there is one. It's an old one, and the reason I got excited about it, when I say old, is a report being about 22 years old as of now. That's kind of old. It's not. Um, it was actually shared by my old supervisor's wife. Now, I heard a couple of the other women that worked there talk about it because apparently she had shared some information with them about it. But my supervisor at the time, he kept trying to tell me about it. He says she swears to it till this day. She was by herself. But what it got me excited was it was like, from where I used to live, it was 5 minutes from there. I was like, awesome. That's awesome because she described what she saw. She said she grew up here in the valley. She knows bears very well because we got bears everywhere. Um, that my father just posted a picture of a black bear that got hit on the side of the road earlier. It just happened. It's right up the road from where they live. So um, yeah, I mean, the bears everywhere. So yeah, if it was a bear she saw, she would be able to identify that and know that, especially the subject coming out of the tree line, crossing the road on 2 feet, taking across, making it across the other way along the creek. So, but that's right here in the Shenandoah Valley, and but like I said, that's one of the oldest reports I received, and I still think about it every now and then. It's still exciting. But as far as the most fresh, the most recent report I've actually got right now was probably 2 years old now. That's the most recent one I got. Is about 2 years old right now. I have not heard nothing fresher than that at the moment. If I do, I will most definitely share that. But that's one thing I try to put it out there. If somebody has something, if they saw something, I put that out here. Especially when I put my cards out there. That's how I got reports before. People, hey, this guy's a Bigfoot researcher. I got to tell him what I saw. And that's why I put things out there publicly. Regardless, despite the ridicule, the mockery, and so forth. And it's rewarding. It's fun. and to get the call or the email or whatever it may be. All right, hold on here. I'm trying to. This might get bright. Actually, that's a little too bright. I gotta die down. There we go.
Check the chat, see what I just showed you guys. That's what I found yesterday.
On the chat.
Yeah, our Google chat.
Oh, I was wondering what you're talking about. I don't see it showing up there, Zach.
A bunch of pictures I just shared to our little Google chat.
Oh, you talking about on Facebook?
No,
we have
not Facebook. Our live chat that we're going right now, our Google Hangout chat.
Well, I got the chat open of the group chat right here on the side that only us could see, but I don't see nothing written in it. Zach's rolling his eyes. Is that what you're talking about in the group chat here, Zach?
Our Google Hangouts chat that we're in the call with.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're on a different chat then.
I check your Facebook Messenger, and if you can, pull them up here on the live video if you can, like do your magic.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right, let me pull them up. Give me a second here. I'll go do that right now. So just bear with me.
What you're about to see was a bunch of rock stacks that I found on a trail that was going, and some of them were right there in the creek. And the only thing I found significant was they were following the creek run.
Wow.
I found like 5 or 6 rock stacks yesterday, all in a straight line, and there wasn't 100 yards in between them.
Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I do this right here.
That was found right up behind my house in a little thicket of woods.
Oh, okay. That's a nice teepee structure right there.
And it was all built up around the fork of a tree. If you look there in the center of those 4 branches, you can see the tree going right up the middle.
Oh yeah, there's one. Well, yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is pretty cool, man.
You got to imagine in shock how I was, because the night before, so this was yesterday, so Saturday night, we was coming home and my grandparents had dropped us off, and I went to go unlock the door, and about 50 to 60 yards right behind my house, there's a little tree line that used to be real thick. But I looked out there, and from the mid chest down, you could see Sasquatch standing right behind the tree, but from the mid chest up, you couldn't see.
Wow.
And it was just standing there, and I walked back to Mom, and I said, "Don't look," but there's one standing out there along the tree line, and she goes, "Oh no, I ain't looking." But he was standing right there, and it was a big old gray one with a black chest on it.
Wow. Yeah, before I click onto the next picture, I'm looking at the live chat real quick. Now, wait, tell me again how this is on your property. You said, right?
Yeah, just about 100 yards away from the house. It's right along an old 4-wheeler trail.
That's very cool. That's a a lot of times when I see formations or structures like the ones I post, like I posted some earlier today, and then I come across them. I post them because I find them interesting, and they, if they are from something else, because some things I find very questionable. It could be either or, and so I still share them with people. And there is certain things I find mind blowing, and as I mentioned in one of my most recent presentations on my new playlist on YouTube called Research Presentations, I mentioned in one of them that teepee structures, because I was talking about structures and formations in one of my videos, but for some reason, the teepee ones are, I don't know why, but they blow me away. I get excited on teepee structure. I think part of it is because in my research area, throughout the years, I have come across in you know I don't know how many, but of various sizes. I have come across ones that were anywhere from a foot tall up to 4 feet tall. I found ones I have to look straight up at, 15, 20 feet tall. And, I get excited when I come across that kind of stuff. And it kind of gets you thinking.
Well,
So,
whenever I found this one, I went and I had my tape measure in my pocket, and I went to go measure it, and it maxed out my tape measure.
oh, wow.
My tape
Now,
measure is 12 foot long.
now, there's once in a while, in certain areas, when you come across certain tree structures and formations, um, if you look around, you might find, because I know I have, and it's not always the case, but if you take the time to look around, you might find other pieces of evidence to support that there was something there being active there as well, because I know I have found clusters of formations in one area. So,
Yeah, because I took my brother back there whenever I found this structure, and he told me that, oh, you're going the wrong way.
yeah, my computer's different.
But I took him back the day that same day. He'd been
Yeah.
back there a week to the day, and he said none of this that I found was there a week ago.
Wow.
That's his little research area that I was in.
Oh, okay. Almost reminds me of an area where the pictures I posted earlier. This kind of reminds me of part of the area I was in there, because I was on a kind
Now
of a part of it. Yeah.
that bend was stuck down the ground. It wasn't pinned under anything. That thing was stuck right down the ground on that end.
Now, in my opinion, and Baltimore, feel free to share your input on this. When I find bowed over trees like that are stabbed into the ground, to me, it was something that forced it down that way. Now, because a lot of times bow trees, in a number of cases, could be ruled out as something else logically. But I find it fascinating if you see the tree on the end of the tree stabbed in the ground or broke off at the bottom where it's bowed over at. Yeah, to me, it's saying something had to force it down like that. I don't know. Well, what's your take on that, Baltimore?
Um, See, right down, like here, the only thing that I haven't found any, especially down here in South Texas, I haven't found any of the structures that that X-shaped or anything like that. I've actually some people have actually said that they actually found them, but me personally, I have not seen them.
Hmm.
But there are actually, I've actually found the only thing that I found that was very unusual is having big oak trees just bend over,
Hmm.
and that bend was there maybe like around a 10 or 20 year span, and there was nothing. It would have been some big old force to bring down that oak tree, and that's the way that it grew.
Hmm.
I found things like that because Native Americans we actually use those as markers also, markers for water or food or something significant there in the area.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So teepee. Then I've actually heard stories about them actually bending trees over, and there was a person that actually pulled them apart. And a couple of days later, they came back, and it was still in the arch position, and they actually found a dog skull in the bottom. So, but there's sometimes also too is especially how trees fall, especially in a good windstorm or thunderstorm or whatever. They just fall a certain way. Wind, because we tend to forget. Like down here, we have a lot of insects, like termites, for example. We have
Oh yeah,
are wood beetles and stuff like that, that it would actually cut certain trees and actually fall a certain way. Sometimes it could be insects, and there's a big possibility that they could also be Bigfoot as well. You know,
absolutely.
I've actually heard stories. The best story that I've heard of was a few years ago, where there was this lady that she was actually showing a property. So she sells real estate, and so she came up there, and she had her kids there with her. And all of a sudden, something actually threw a big old stick over their heads, and actually saw it bounce. And the lady freaked out and gathered all the kids and put them into their vehicle and took off.
Wow.
And so the lady called up her brother, that's also pretty close to the area, and said, "You never guess what happened to us." So they went up there and to the area real close to the certain creek, and went up there and was looking for the stick that it actually threw, and could not find it.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome though.
yeah. But you have stories like that. They do stuff with twigs, sticks, that we don't know the reasons what they do it. I've actually heard stories that they actually use the sticks as digging tools, but we just don't know the significance, or what they're trying to tell us about these certain tree structures.
Right. That's very interesting because you had mentioned something that I actually failed to actually think about. I think about a lot of other logical explanations for the possibility of what we find. But you had mentioned, wood beetles and termites and other insects that get in there, eat away, and over time, the tree will rot in a certain way, and it'll break a certain way because of the way it started getting eaten out or rotted. But that's something interesting to also keep in mind too. As much as I explain a lot of other logical explanations for things, that's something I actually seriously neglect right there. So actually, I
See,
do appreciate you bringing that up.
yeah, and then also you have your ants. Down out here we have a lot of fire ants that actually go through, can actually eat, and even roaches could go as far as eating uh, trees that are also decayed. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the people listening to this broadcast, could actually say that, and then we haven't even talked about the diseases that the trees have, or the beetles that actually infect trees. I mean, the numbers are these certain things that go around nature, that we don't even think about. That is actually insect related or disease related, but not Bigfoot related. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, because the picture we're looking at right here, it looks just like the area that I was in where I found some of the structures I found today. And what I don't know what a lot of these structures and stuff like you said, they could be markers for that could lead meaning there's water nearby and stuff like that, because there was a couple bowed over trees. One was literally broke over and covering the trail that I was on. It was an old trail that was running into the woods, and it was the trails that I was on were if they may have been old log roads, but they were more of a trail, and I was finding a lot of interesting stuff, and I actually found a possible track that was along there. But some of the fresh stuff I did find, could have been indicating that there was water sources nearby, which there was. There was obvious water. There was a small stream down below in the hollow. I was up the trail I was on. It looked just like this, and it was a kind of a slope drop off there on the right. And then as you get down, what almost looks like you're coming to the end, you can see across the other side there was a lot of thick growth in there, a lot of honeysuckle, and a lot of these bushes and trees. They were thick and they formed what appeared to be like natural huts, what I call them. And so I was talking to myself out there, which I do quite often. And I said, there could be something right over there now watching me right now, as far as I know. I said, they could be out hiding right there, and I won't even know it. You know. Now, I didn't hear. I heard something when I was out there. It, it sounded like if you ever hear a quail um, or a turkey take off real quick, or real close by, but yet not see it. What I heard sounded like something taking off out of the bushes as I passed by. I didn't see nothing, but on my way back out the same trail, there was something I saw on the ground, and it was just a touch smaller than my boot, and it looked like it was part of it looked like it was a foot track, and it was like almost a foot long. It was like taking your foot and pushing it on the dirt sideways, and then all you have is the shape of it on the outside. Um, I do believe I posted that earlier. I don't know if I did or not. I'll have to try to see if that's on here. And and I got to thinking. I said, "This is fresh and this is very obvious. Why didn't I not see this on the way in here?" I said, "Maybe something came running down off the hill, or I must have kicked something up. Maybe it was in a hurry and scooted off real quick." Um, so, excuse me. I don't know. That's interesting though. Um, all right. The live chat's getting active here. Um, One guy said, "I've seen helicopters over a gorge. I thought of them being connected to the sightings."
Yeah, that's
Uh,
something I found very interesting out here because there's been a lot of Apache Blackhawks that's been going over. And then yesterday I was sitting out in my truck and an F-15 went over.
oh
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that thing was hauling ass.
Mm,
And me and my brother seen it too.
interesting. Um, there was something on here about UFOs. I'm trying to find it where it went. Where'd it go? Oh, Mark Huff was mentioned on here. Then he goes on to ask. He said lots of people see Bigfoot and lots of people see UFOs, but nobody has any concrete evidence of either, other than videos and pictures. He's asking, could they be connected? Well, exactly what he says. There's no concrete evidence. I know. I think the UFO and Bigfoot thing is right now just a theory, and maybe part of it's a coincidence that there's something sighted in the sky when they have a Bigfoot sighting. Um, but what's interesting that he brought that up, I do want to mention, and for those who have not seen it, there's a movie called Sightings. Mr. Dallas Morgan, the movie film director and producer of that film, created that sci-fi horror movie. It's a Bigfoot movie, and I've seen the trailer. I have not watched the movie, but he will be showing that movie at our event, June 30th, and
Oh wow.
yeah, so he'll be doing a movie premiere of that movie, um, and that movie is based off of that theory. So that's why he created the movie. It's a sci-fi, you know, horror movie, and so it looks pretty intense. So you could actually, if anyone wants to watch it now, you could order on, I believe you order on demand, or you could buy it, a copy of it on Amazon. So unless you come to the event, he will have copies of the CD for sale as well. So there you go. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Uh,
Now, do you think that Bigfoot and and aliens are related, or my theory is this: we have had a lot of people, have actually talked about being abducted by aliens, and I wouldn't be too surprised if aliens did take Bigfoot up there. For them to study them, and then after that, let them go. So
hmm.
that's a good possibility.
Yeah, I mean, because that's something that's, our sky, our the universe is so vast. If there is other life out there, you know, it wasn't revealed to us as far as, the way I look at it, things in a biblical sense. There's mysteries out there. We know that, but it's like, are we supposed to know about them if it's real? People have claimed to have abductions and everything else. So, it's kind of hard to say. I'm not going to call anybody a liar, because there's so much that we don't know. So, again, yeah, it's a good possibility. So,
Now this one rock stack that I found was only about maybe 20 yards away from that bend,
mm.
and it was going right down the hill, and right there on the right you can see the trail that comes down alongside it.
Now, yeah, I personally have come across rock stacks in various areas. Some of the ones I find more interesting are the ones found in the middle of creeks, and stuff like that, in shallow creeks and stuff. Um, but yeah, the ones I have come across, the ones, and they usually border trails, and that's one thing. Uh, this is the objective side of me coming out. I know hikers or hunters. Actually, this is one of the things that they have been known to do. Just like if they're walking in the woods on a trail, when they pass by, they'll grab a limb and snap it over as they walk in. Or either that walking out. I've done it. I know my father's done it. But as far as rock stacks, I think they're kind of debatable. But there's depends on where you find them. I do believe that they, it could be either or, if that's safe to say. Um, but yeah, if I came across that, I would find it interesting. Now I know you guys heard me talk about me making a rock stack for experimentation, and I have not checked on it in a long time. I like to redo it, but it actually has had some interaction because I had that turkey feather involved. So that is very interesting. Oh, what do we got here, Zach? Another boat over
Now,
tree.
now this tree had been bowed over for 2 years. That was the tree that I hung the lure from. I remember that tree because I marked it. I marked in the wood on one of the trees next to it a lightning bolt with my knife. I carved a lightning bolt into the bark, and I use that to mark where in the woods where height of Bigfoot activity is. I'm coming down that trail coming back because you can see on the other side of it there's a clearing. There was a piece of a big piece of log that I could pick up that was bending it over, and I picked it up and I threw it down the ravine where that other tree bend was, and I said very loudly, "Leave this alone." And I went back down on my hike, and then I doubled back, and whenever I come back, this tree was pinned underneath that log again.
Oh wow! Now that's
And that was
interesting.
about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours span.
Hmm, that's pretty cool right there. Now, is this a different rock stack?
That one is right along the creek, just down the hill from the other rock stack, not maybe 50 yards. And right there, as you can see right there in the top right hand corner, that's next to an opening that goes out into an open field. And that one was sitting right there next to the opening.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I really don't know if that's like a boundary marker saying don't go past this point or you'll be seen, or if it's a highway marker for them or trail marker. That one I found, I measured it, stood 3 foot tall.
That's pretty cool looking though. Yeah, right here it looks like it's wet on the bottom, like something either pissed on it or something. I don't know. Just the way I'm
That was
looking at it,
me.
looks. What?
That was me. I stopped to take a leak.
Oh Lord have mercy. Let's see. Oh, Woolly Burger said, "Damn, my little woman." Just brought 2 chili dogs.
Now, this rock stack, there's 2 pictures of it. That one was taken at a distance of probably about maybe 20 foot. That one was sitting right around the bend from that bigger rock stack, as you can see right there, the field right next to it.
Oops,
That
I
one
went too.
was,
Oh crap! I went too far. Yeah.
that was the taller rock stack that I found.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I see it sitting right there by the creek. That's pretty cool.
And that was sitting on a bigger piece of shell stone. That one, the other rock stacks that you just seen, wasn't on my land. That was on my neighbor's land. Right here is down the bottoms where we're keeping our cattle at right now.
Hmm.
And that was sitting right along our fence line, which sits right along the creek where one of the water gates I've put in is at. And going right along where you see those trees at the top is our fence line on the other side. And that fence line goes along the hill, and there's an opening between our fence line and the hillside that the fence line runs along in the bottoms. And that's a open trail where I think they could go and they could use that for a game trail and use it for cover as well.
Yeah. No, that's
That
a.
one was found right where in the same area where I found that first tree structure about 2 years ago, the one that had the rock stack sitting in the middle. And that one was setting up on the hillside, probably about maybe 20 yards from the creek, right along where a straightaway of power lines is.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Now, is that the same one you showed us earlier? Different
That's the
angle?
same one that was sitting in the middle of the creek. That's one where I took it about 20, 30 foot away.
Hmm. Pretty cool. Alrighty. That's pretty cool there. Uh, Woolly Burger said, put chastity belts on your heifers. I don't think he has any comment for that, Woolly Burger.
Well, they're breeding still. There's a couple of them that are second and third stage right now, second or third trimester, and we got some that are still having calves, and we got the bulls separated from so that way they ain't breeding, so that way we ain't got no late year calves.
Yeah. Huh. There was something I was gonna. Oh yeah. While I'm thinking about it, I want to remind everybody this Thursday night at 8 p.m. I will be having the Ohio Night Stalkers on here live Thursday night at
Sweet.
8 p.m. And for those who are familiar with their episode on Destination America, Terror in the Woods, their episode was, I believe it was number 3, called Hunted by Bigfoot. So we'll get a little familiar with them. Everybody will be able to ask questions with them, and we'll be talking about. We probably get into talking about their episode, their experience they had, with their Terror in the Woods. And if you want to come out and meet the Ohio Night Stalkers, they'll be here June 30th and July 1st in Virginia at the Augusta Expo. So if that is in Fishersville, Virginia, again, that is June 30th and July 1st. Go find our event page and share it around, make it happen. So
Yeah,
I
I
just
won't be
wanted
on that night because Crab Orchard's having the graduation this Thursday night, so I'll be up there. A couple of my team members are graduating.
yeah, that's cool. Reverb Twang said everything is connected. Bigfoot, UFOs, and Elvis. Oh. Oh man. Zach, I know you got your Backwoods Investigations live shows going on again. And you just recently had 2 guests on there. You had Glenn Mink and Bobby Rich. Uh oh. And how about you want to tell us how that's going and what you got planned for that coming up?
What you talking about?
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I did lose you then. You got Backwoods Investigation back on the air.
Yep, season 3.
Yeah, you just recently had 2 guests, Bobby Rich and Glenn Mink. If you want to kind of fill everybody in on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this Saturday night I've got Matt Delph of Micro on, and then after that my schedule's open. I've got a lot of guests lined up. I've got Fred Caney and Connie Fox going to be coming on. Hopefully I can get Vic Cundiff and Adam Davis on. I'm working on getting Jeff Byers on, the Ohio Night Stalkers, and a special surprise guest. So Daniel, you know who I'm talking about. So shh.
All right, I won't slip up his name.
I got Jimmy Blanton supposed to be on. Stacy Coughlin supposed to be on. Dave Thundercloud's coming on. Who else? Daggum, I forgot my list of people. Like I said, the Ohio Night Stalkers will be on. Jeff Byers. The She Squatchers, Jenna Grover and Jen Cruz will be on. So I've got an all-star lineup pretty much for season 3.
Yeah, I really appreciate what Jeff Byers is doing with the Ohio Night Stalkers being one of our guest speakers at our event. Jeff Byers is actually their sponsor. Ohio Night Stalkers is one of our sponsors, and Jeff Byers is actually contributing, some items for giveaway, some raffling we'll be doing. So that is very awesome. And so Jeff Byers, he's told me himself that he is supporting our event and he wants this to become one of the biggest events on the East Coast. He won't, unfortunately, he will not be able to attend our event this year, but he is contributing to it, and through the Ohio Night Stalkers with some items. From what I understand, I believe there will be some of his figurines and some posters, stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm
very
still
cool.
trying to get him to make action figures of you and me.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Cryptozoology guy said Kentucky knows Connie Fox. Yeah, Connie Fox. Fred Kenny and Connie Fox. They'll be there at our event. They actually are going to be setting up a table. Connie has actually been very busy making some, handcrafted big picture frames with Bigfoot in them. So and other miscellaneous items. So that's actually pretty cool. I've seen some of what she's doing, and it looks pretty good. So I'm excited that they're going to be doing that, and I'm sure they'll have some things set up on their table for display. Uh, so yeah, if you want to come out and meet Fred Canny and Connie Fox, come on down to the Augusta Expo in Fishersville, Virginia, June 30th and July 1st. So a lot of
I'm going to try. I've already got Dan Lindholm down to be on an episode soon. I'm going to try, and if he will, and if he's listening, Mr. Dan Baker, I want to try and get him on. Ken Gerhard, Joe Harbert of Florida. Let's see if I can get him on. Bill Brock. If Michael Cook's listening, I'd love to have him on my show. Bruce Klein, he had an encounter back in the 60s with the Tuttle Bottoms monster, which took place only 15 miles from here.
Wooly Burger said, make some T-shirts. He said, Bigfoot put me in the fetal position. I heard Jan Carter Coy will be there. I'll have to look at the list on tickets. I'm not familiar with that name. So
yeah, it's hard to believe that we're only less than a month away from the whole kit and caboodle. It's coming up on us fast.
Oh yeah, I know. It's because we've playing this. This has been in the works for well over a year, and here we are. We're coming down to the last month or so here. So it's very exciting. It's a little nerving, slightly nervous, but we're excited for it, And Bigfoot will be there. Yep, that's right. We got confirmation. Bigfoot will be there. So
we already know you're going to be there, Daniel. Quit bragging about it.
Well, my brother will be there. Yeah, confirmed. Coming out of the state of Kentucky, Bigfoot will be there on site. So Baltimore had to drop off. He said his phone is dying. He said he'll talk with us later. So
Happy trails, Baltimore.
all right. Um. Well, that pretty much wraps up a lot of what we we had a good discussion tonight, and if you have not done so, go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel for future uploads and live shows. That way, you will get the alert or notification when we do go live. There's Yowie down under. Awesome.
Hey!
He says, "Dang it, boys! I can't believe I'm going to miss this year's conference." That's not a problem. It's not a problem, but I really hope you can be there for next year. And I know last time I talked to him about that, I think he does plan on being up here with his travel. So that'll be great to have Yowie down under. For those who don't know, his name is Josh, and so that'd be cool having him a big part of that. Because right now that'd be great. We got Australia, we got USAC, and we got the UK. Mr. Andy McGrath confirmed to be for 2019. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are already having speakers being filled for 2019. So that's awesome. Wait, before you go, do you believe in Bigfoot? Absolutely. We're Bigfoot researchers. And that's what we do. We've all have an experience of some sort. Some of us have been doing this for several years, and I myself, if you want to get more familiar with me, browse through my YouTube channel here, and you'll see what I got to show. And you can find me on Facebook as well. I go by Daniel Benoit, Benoit. It's my last name. So yes, we are Bigfoot believers and knowers. So that's a fact. So so. Zach, you have anything else before you want to throw out there before we jump off here?
Yeah, backed by popular demand of Bobcat Carpenter, formerly known as Bobcat Wong, Storytime has come back, where I do a live stream every weekend, where I do Storytime with Blimp, where it's where I go and I tell reports of cryptids from Illinois, the 48 states, and all around the world. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters YouTube channel, SIMH Southern Illinois Monster Hunters. Gets the word out. It spreads awareness that it's not just Bigfoot in this world, it's other creatures that's being reported. Before we go, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I did this one story time Saturday. It was talking about a creature from your area it was something of the likeness that made an appearance here back in the 40s, but it showed up 11 years before that in, I think it was Burntrout County, Virginia, the Mad Gasser. And it showed up over the course of like 4 or 5 months. People claim to have seen the thing. It was either a person or something like that was showing up, and it was filling houses with gas. It would crack open windows and fill them with like a chlorine gas or some kind of gas, and it would like make people really nauseous and stuff like that. And it really had an effect on a lot of people. It was seen in like 5 or 6 towns in Burntrout County, Virginia.
Oh, wow.
It was back in 1933, 1934, and they said they wonder if it was someone that was stricken from the gas attacks during World War I, and it made an appearance here in around Mattoon, in Illinois, back in the 40s, and it was similar reports. That might be something you'd want to look into. It was a very interesting case that I looked into.
Okay, yeah. Try to send me if you can find information on it. Feel free to do that. Reverb Twang said, My film is called The Knowers, dedicated to the ones who know. Um, and I asked him, I said, where could it be found? He said, it's the YouTube, The Knowers Sasquatch. So, yeah, I guess The Knowers, I guess that's the name of his YouTube channel, or unless it is Reverb Twang under his name. It's called, The Knowers. So,
I just forwarded the link to you about the info on the Mad Gasser.
We do have one more question before we jump off here. I'll go ahead and take this question. Joe Anthony's asking, do you think Bigfoot is all around the world or in counted areas? That's very interesting. Well, we do know from based off of documentation and reports, they are spotted. Bigfoot-like creatures are spotted and seen throughout various regions and countries. And almost every country, every jungle, every tribe has some type of legend. Some of them may vary in appearance, but I will say I believe that is possible. Some people are seeing something in other areas. Over in Asia, you have the urine pendek, and then what is it? In Indonesia, you have the oh man, what is the name? The urine pendek in Indonesia, the urine in China, the Yowie down in Australia, and
the home state of Russia and China and
Yeti,
Siberia.
Absolutely. So,
and then you got the Thunder Giant here in Illinois, the Big Muddy Monster, the Tuttle Bottoms Monster, the Hamp Mine Monster, the Bull Valley Monster. All that took place here in Illinois.
And the UK, Scotland, all these different areas, all these different regions of countries. I mean, they have something there. So, but that's interesting that you asked that. But so you just kind of look into the reports. Sometimes you can find different documented online reports through a simple Google search as well. So, do we believe in lake monsters? Well, I'm not going to rule them out. I do believe there's other big sea monsters, the Leviathan. You got monster sharks. I believe that there's a megalodon somewhere down there.
I got a whole list of them.
I mean, there's some fish and creatures that still date back to prehistoric times. So I believe anything other than that, especially if you're referring to, what is it, Loch Ness, something related to the Loch Ness. I mean, there could be something prehistoric related to what the Loch Ness resembles. There's so much sea, so many deep miles of sea that's still, unsearched, so, but yeah, there's I don't know, that's the way I look at it. So anything's possible. So
I can tell you a whole list of them. There's just a couple of them from right here in Illinois. The Lake Michigan Monster, the Stump Pond Serpent. There's Ogopogo, Champ from Lake Champlain, the Loch Ness Monster, the Cadborosaurus that dwells off the coast of Washington, Oregon, and California. The Kraken from Norse mythology, the Leviathan.
Yeah.
The list goes on. I mean, this world is a crazy world that we live in. There's still a whole lot, especially if we're going to find anything that's in the most undiscovered the last frontier. It's the ocean and the waterways.
Yeah. I agree. So, ladies and gentlemen on live chat, I really do appreciate your interaction, your inputs, your comments, and questions. They've been awesome tonight. Feel free to save questions for the next time. Please make sure you mark it on your calendars for this Thursday, May 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. We will have Ohio Night Stalkers, Mike Miller and Mike Feltner. They will be live with us this Friday. So it's been a great night. You guys keep it squatchy. And if you have not done so, again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Bigfoot Zone. right here in Southern Illinois Monster Hunters with in Backwards Investigations with Zach Sterick. And Zach, Yowie Down Under, I'll be in touch with you in the next couple days, sir, and we'll go from there. So, guys, have a good night, and until next time.